Quaid Azam Pot 115. Meanwhile, Muslim efforts during the middle of 1920s to counteract Hindu movements were for the most part not so well coordinated, also not so effective. An attempt was made to foster a physical culture troop under the name Ali Ghol as a counterpart to the Mahabir Dal of the Mahasabha, but the results were spotty. There was just one single effort to construct a full equivalent to Sangathan, and that amounted to little more than the work of one man. In 1924, Dr. Safiuddin Kichlu, an associate of Shaukat Ali, launched the Tanzim movement. He gained some support from the Central Khilafat Committee, established an Urdu language daily in Amritsar called Tanzim, and began a round of speaking engagements to raise both funds and following. Though the Muslim response to Sangathan was scattered and did not generate any new institution, it was of little comfort to the Hindus who remained rooted in their conviction that the Muslims strongly entrenched needed to be confronted. Another factor which then contributed, still does, to Hindu-Muslim strife was the periodic coincidence of their main festivals. But particularly problematic was and is, for example, the coincidence of Ram Leela or Dussehra with observance of Muharram and Baqar-Eid. Incidents of cow slaughter and the playing of music before mosques had, as it still does, a continuing potential for disruption of peace, which is why festival got associated with almost all communal conflicts in the 1920s. So much so that the British observers then began to refer the Hindu-Muslim clashes of the period derisively as the cow music question. From about 1923 onward, India then witnessed a series of communal rights that further vitiated the political atmosphere. The Calcutta riots of 1923, riots in Delhi, Gulbarga and Kohat in 1924 are only some examples of major communal conflagrations. In the period of all these, most serious occurred in Kohat in NWFP, which is now known as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, a province with an overwhelmingly Muslim population, over 92%. The trouble arose over a pamphlet published by Sanatan Dharam Sabha Kohat that contained an anti-Islamic poem. This in turn was a reaction to reply an equally offensive anti-Hindu poem published in a Muslim news sheet. The Muslim community at Kohat rose against the disturbing poem, and despite Hindu adopting the resolutions regretting the error, drastic action was sought against them. The Muslims of Kohat took an oath of an extreme revenge. The district administration failed to assess the seriousness of the situation. Violence broke out on 9 September 1924 and continued for some days, leading to looting, arsons, and widespread killing of Hindus. The failure of the government to protect them caused deep resentment throughout India. When Gandhi attempted to visit Kohat, he was refused permission by the Viceroy. The popular demand for an independent inquiry was also not heeded. Instead, government held an internal inquiry and of its own predictably and exonerated the local officials. The manner in which Congress, the Muslim League, and the Hindu Mahasabha reacted to Kohat tragedy is illustrative of the manner in which communal questions were then looked at. Well, Motilal Nehru had moved a resolution on the subject in Congress conclave scrupulously avoiding casting blame on any party. As he himself admitted later, the resolution was a non controversial one and committed Congress to nothing.